A staple I do in all interviews in order to start things off is to ask that you elaborate a bit about your work and this particular role for those not familiar with it.
All right. Well, my name is Romane Denis. I'm an actress. I'm based in Montreal. I had never done a game before. I've done television and movies and stuff like that, but never a game. So this was really nice. It was an adventure. And I play Nikki, Cadet Nicolette Gold. And she is a part of Nova Corps. There we are, Nova Corps. And yeah, so she meets the Guardians because they arrive on her mom's ship, and she tries to take charge to show that she's very young. She's 12, I think, in the story, and but she wants to show that she's ready to take on more responsibilities, and she's set to grow up very fast because she's the only kid on the ship. So yeah, that's kind of the
Perfect
character.
opening. Could you tell us a bit about how your performance was conducted for Nikki? Was it largely focused on voice work, or did you have interactions with the rest of the Guardians team?
Yeah, I did have interactions, which was great because I think it was important that I act with them. Sorry, English is my first language, so
Hmm.
sometimes I search for my words. But I think it was great to have interaction, especially with Peter Quill, because I think the chemistry was really important in this game, and I think it shows. But yeah, it was really divided. We did motion capture, and then we did voice acting separately and sometimes together, and sometimes it was really interesting because I'd never done this before. And so it was another way to perform.
Hmm.
So it was really great. And also, of course, the motion capture, you have so much freedom because you're not on a set, or you don't have nothing's tangible. So you can basically do whatever you want. But I think in this great sense of freedom, and you can do whatever the hell you want, I think it was really important to have something very tangible, which is the Guardians and the interactions, and the banter also, because sometimes it's very quick and it's very fun. And I think it wouldn't have worked had we done it separately. So yeah, I was really happy to have interactions with. I had interactions with all the Guardians, but more with Peter because, of course, we have more scenes together. And then, of course, my mother. Uh, Actually, I didn't see a lot of her, but my first day was with her, and I think it was great to have that sense of, okay, I get where she's coming from with that kind of mother who's very. I don't know. I mean, it's her daughter, and so she wants to be kind and understanding, but at the same time, Nikki's part of the cadets, and so she has to show authority. I don't know. It was a fine line, and Nikki also is very she likes to test people, and she she doesn't really like authority, especially when she doesn't really understand why the rules are there or why they apply to her, because she's a very determined young girl, um, very brave. I thought that's what I really loved about her character. She's very brave, very intelligent, and very eager to prove that she can do it all.
So when you're there, kind of physically acting around, do you find it hard to figure out where exactly you would be in the game sense? Did they give you any sort of direction to the visual world that you're in?
They tried to give us, as best as they could, a sense of, sometimes right before doing a scene, we would look at the sketches of, um, what the ship looks like, and kind of if it's very narrow or if it's very wide. And they give you a sense of what it looks like or what it will look like eventually, because, of course, it's a very long process. And sometimes you're acting and the images aren't ready. And so and sometimes we would come back and do it again because it didn't really work when put in the, in the design of the ship, for example, or another uh, location, whatever. But no, I think it was done really well, and the costumes as well. It was really important to have a sense of what your character is wearing because, of course, you have the motion capture helmet and the thing, but you have to think. I'm wearing a uniform right now, and so I don't walk the same as if I'm, for example, wearing a dress or wearing like a crown or something. There's a sort of a weight on your head, or I don't want to give too much away.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I think it was done very well, and we had the one of the authors as well who was there with us. Um, not all the time, but sometimes for key moments, she was there and she was directing and like, don't forget, you're coming from there and you're going there. And oh yeah, that's right, we're here in the story because we do the scenes. We don't do them in order at all, and so sometimes it's easy to forget. Okay, I just came from this battle, so I can't be like, whoo, I have to play as if she's tired and she's been through a lot. And but sometimes you forget, and of course, they don't want to show you too much. Even if you're part of the project, there are things that you can't really see or that they're not ready or whatever. But no, I think overall it was really well done, and you had a really good sense of what we were working towards. So.
When preparing to voice Nikki, were you given any initial direction in regards to the character, just in terms of any like prep work to get into the mindset of the performance? Nope.
It's a really funny story how I got the role, actually, because I went to audition for a project called Project Nine. That was I had no idea it was Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't know it was a game. I didn't know anything. It was just this. I had two scenes. One in which she was this normal 12-year-old girl, and the other one where she was. You had the feeling that she was a little bit. She wasn't herself, and she was kind of not possessed, but it was kind of the idea. And so I thought it was really interesting. And so I walked in, having no idea what I was doing, and tried something. And then a year later, they called me back. I had completely forgotten about it. A year later, they called me back and they were like, "Oh, yeah, so when are you free to shoot?" I was like, "For what?" "Well, for this role that you got in Project Nine." I was like, I had no idea that I had gotten it, but hi. And so, no, I think that the most important part for me was to remember that I was 12. So because it was yeah, for 2 years we did that, on 2 years, yeah. And so 21, 22 years old. So I had to remember, and yeah, I had to remember that I was 12. So cut 10 years out of my voice. And so it was just, I don't know, it was to keep it light and keep it very. We didn't want her to sound like a kid because she is a kid, but she's trying to sound like, like the beginning of an adult. She wants to show that she's responsible and that she knows what she's doing, and so the direction was really to remind me not to, because the Guardians are very, apart maybe from Peter, but they're very serious and they're very, they have these voices and they're very strong characters, and so they have these really strong voices. And even Gamora, she has this great voice with a commanding voice. And for Nikki, it was commanding, but it was like a kid commanding. So it was just, yeah, I think that it wasn't really hard. It was easy, but just walking every morning, walking into onto set, just okay, you're 12, and we're back. But it was, I think, the one of the great strengths of this game is that the dialogues are really great, and it was easy to act them out. Really easy. It was natural banter and things that you would say, or that events that could take place, except it's in space, you know? But the dialogues themselves were really great, and it was just easy. So there wasn't that much direction, like acting direction.
And yeah, game's very quippy.
Very what?
Quippy? The quips?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very funny. Actually, I think it was one of the funnier games I've actually played.
That's
Like,
what I liked about it. I thought
yeah.
it was really because of course I didn't get the scripts until the really very last minute because they don't want it to leak. And then I read it. I was just like, this isn't, I haven't seen anything like this because usually it's very, well, I'm not a gamer personally, but from what I've seen, usually it's very, I don't know, very serious and very game on and, but I thought that it was really nice to have these moments of, yeah, they're human just like you and me. And sometimes they say things that are completely ridiculous. And then other people look at them and like, did you really just say that? We're in a very serious situation right now. So that's what I really liked about, especially with my character. It was a lot of banter with Peter, especially, and how she talks back to her mom sometimes, who's this very powerful woman warrior, and she's done all these great things, and then the one person she can't control is her daughter. And so I thought it was really funny.
It's very, very humorous. Like, I got quite a few laughs out of it. What's it like to see your voice attached to a game character?
Um, it's weird in a sense. I don't know, the first time I saw the character and what she looked like, I, because it is you. You look at the character and it is you, and then it is you. Like, it's my eyes, it's um, not really my nose, but it's my face movements, and it's me, but at the same time, it is not me. And it's very troubling, I would say. Um, but it's a lot of fun because you listen to her and you watch her closely and you're like, oh, so that's what it looks like when all, because of course I had the image of us with like the dots on our faces and with the helmets and the whole thing. We looked ridiculous, and then but trying to sound very serious and very in the moment, and but when you see it all done, it's so impressive. I was fascinated because I don't know, it became very real when I saw it, and it's fun. Yeah, it's weird to see an animation of yourself because usually you see, what you see is what you get. And no, I was blue from head to toe. And but no, it was, yeah, it was weird, but it was more than that. It was really just fascinating. The process was great.
Do you see yourself being interested in additional game related performances in the future?
Yes, I loved it. I really did love it. Yeah, I think it's from an actor's perspective, it's a lot of fun because um you're not like a prisoner of a set or of a costume, or you can do whatever you want. And there's this great freedom of movement and of yeah, you're not what's the word? Constrained? Yeah, okay, I got it. Um, yeah, you're free to do whatever you want. And that was great. It felt very liberating to be able to act and just have fun with it. And you want to hold a staff or you want to do whatever you want, you want to grab there, we'll put it there. You can do whatever you want. And I don't know, it was really fascinating to work. in a completely different way. You do the same thing, you act and you become a character, but in this completely different way. And I really loved it, and I would be very interested and curious to see what else I can do.
What are some other performances that viewers might know you from?
Well, it depends where you're from. I did a horror movie called Slacks, which was great, which is about a pair of killer pants. So that's great. And it was in English. It was so for English speakers, maybe there. Or in French, I did a lot of stuff. I did Les Pays d'en Haut, which was great. Got to wear a corset, couldn't breathe. That was great. And then I did Charlotte du Fun, which in English was Slut in a Good Way, which is great. It's a really good movie. It sounds very, but it's a really good movie. Love doing that. On television, what did I do? I did. See, that's the thing. It's when you ask, like, what did you do? I can't remember a single thing. I did. What did I do in English? Oh, I did My Salinger Year. I had a role in that, which was great. A lot of fun. And then a lot of French TV. So if you're not from Quebec, you probably don't know it, but it's really good. And so if you want to learn French, I encourage you to watch these shows because they're great. Um, yeah, but I think the thing that I'm most grateful for is that I get to do a lot of different things. I was on stage and I was on television and I did drama or comedy or and now a game, and it's great to discover all these different ways of doing a job that's very, it's always the same thing. You play a character and you learn your lines, but in a very different environment and with very different people who come from all these different places and who bring very different things and baggage and emotions. And I don't know, it's great. And then you have, on stage, which is a whole different thing because you have one shot of doing it right. Um, but yeah, a lot of different things.
Hmm. Okay. To switch up to a more spoiler type of situation for those
Yes.
that haven't played the game, this is a good cutoff point. Nikki has a very dramatic sort of focus in the game, really being a core part of what the story is actually based around. Did you have any challenges going from a more curious type of kid to one that was suffering from severe grief?
Not really. I think it's something that everybody can kind of relate to because everybody has, at some point in their lives, lost someone, or um, even if it's just, if you haven't lost anyone, maybe you've lost a cherished pet, like a dog whom you loved for like 10, 15 years. Yeah, see, so it's a very, I don't know, I don't think it was difficult. It was just very natural, and it was, yeah, it was natural, and it was really cool. It sounds weird, but it was really cool to show that kids have as they have really deep emotions just like adults. It's not because they're kids that they don't feel as much. They feel just as much. Sometimes the difference is they don't know how to express it. They don't know how to communicate their emotions as well, or they don't know what to do with them. They have no idea. And sometimes people tend to, oh, you're just a kid, you have no idea. Oh, you're sad. You'll see it. She's young, she'll recover. No, that's how you create trauma, when you leave a child alone with really difficult emotions. And so I think it was a great opportunity to show a young girl who's working with really difficult emotions and who is strong enough to realize that she's caught in this lie. And because when you're a naive child, and you're put on this pedestal, and oh, you're so, it's hard sometimes to recognize the lie and to recognize that you are being manipulated and to do something about it, because it's one thing to recognize it, but it's another thing to get out of the situation. And I think that shows just how strong she is, even though she's young. And sometimes, there are people who are like, oh, she's a girl. Well, yeah, she's a girl. She's a strong girl, and girls are strong. Yeah, so I was really proud to be able to show that. And I think it came out well. I was really happy.
So, speaking of strong, you become a very powerful icon while dealing with grief. Was it enjoyable to shift into what was essentially a cult leader and icon?
Oh, that was so much fun. So much fun. Because it's rare that, when you're a small lady like me, we don't often get to play these very tough characters who are very. And she wasn't the muscle of the whole thing. She's the voice. And so I think that the challenge here was to switch the voice, to understand that it's her, it's Nikki, but when she's speaking, it's so not her. And that had to be very clear. So she wasn't speaking in the same manner. It was more posy. It was, how do you say that? It wasn't light anymore. It wasn't like a kid going, I have this idea and I'm doing this, and it was very much more calm and like an adult in the body of a girl. And that's what we wanted it to be weird when she's talking, and it's clearly not her. And then sometimes you kind of see a glimpse of her, and then whoop, she's gone. And so that was the challenge, to kind of navigate that. But it was great. I really loved it. I loved playing this kind of, because I had the freedom to use another voice, kind of a deeper voice, a very grown up voice. Yeah, it was great. And it's always great to play someone who has a lot of power, because I don't know, you get a sense of, you have people bowing in front of you, and it was fun. It was, for me, it was fun. But sorry, it was a lot of fun. And also the interactions with what's the name, the priest, the grand unifier, there we go. It was really great because they speak in this very, I don't know, kind of royal voices, or very regal.
Hmm.
And that was a lot of fun to do, because usually in today we don't do a lot of, you're supposed to sound very natural and very, we want it to be believable. And but there we had the freedom to be extra and over the top and very intense in what we were doing. So that was really great.
So, the ending of the game leaves you with the Guardians. Assuming there's a follow up, would you be interested in joining it? And do you see Nikki becoming a regular member of the team?
I would love to do it. I don't know if they're going to do it. I have no idea. But I think she could be a great addition, because she's young and she has this way of seeing things that is fresh and new. And I think she has this great relationship with Peter. Uh, I think that would be great to explore, actually, because, and it would be another woman and the Guardians. That would be great. Uh, and I think it would be, I would love to have more interactions with the other Guardians, because I think it would be really funny to, because of course we explored with Peter, but with Gamora or with Drax or with Groot even, and Rocket, I think there's so much that could be done with Nikki. I think it would be great. It would be really fun and funny as well, because I think, with Rocket, she would do all these kind of crazy inventions, and then with Groot, it would be more, this kind of soft side, and with Gamora, it's very badass and very intense, and then with Drax, it's just awkward. And so yeah, I think it would be great. It would be Yeah, it would be interesting to see how these different characters would interact with Nikki, with this young girl, but who's very badass as well. Her age doesn't define her, and that's what I love about her.
To build on that, would you like to see it take place right after, or would you like a time skip?
I don't know. I think both would be very interesting. I think directly after, to kind of have this new dynamic and how it works, because of course they've been this group and then another edition. It would be really interesting to see how she would fit in and how the group would adapt to her. But a time skip could be great as well, because you could see, oh my god, they've become this great group that works really well together, and it's just uh, une évidence. It's just, yeah, it's easy, and it's clear that it was meant to be. So I think both would be really interesting.
When performing the role, were there any particular lines or moments that really stuck out to you, whether that's a behind the scenes moment or from the dialogue? I personally loved the elevator scene.
Yes, I love the elevator scene. I thought it was great because she finally has like an ally on the ship. And so I thought that was a great scene. I think a really great scene as well was the smashing of the cake and the whole, we do this on Earth and it's called grieving, and but yeah, the whole, I just want to see my mom again. I want things to go back to normal, and it's my fault. And then when she realizes that to get better, and she has to move on, she can't be stuck here. That was a really intense scene. I can remember it very well with John, who played Peter. It was a very emotional scene. And I remember when they said cut, we were kind of still in it because we were so, yeah, we'd forgotten everything around us, and it was so intense. And when they said cut, I remember there was this silence for a couple of seconds, and then people were like, okay, that was great, that was okay, let's move on, but everybody was kind of shaken because it's always very, it's emotional, and it's sad to see this young girl who just wants to be happy, but she doesn't know how to move on from that. How do you recover from losing your parent? It seems impossible until it doesn't anymore, and then you keep going, and then day after day you realize you're better, and that life is not going to wait for you, and there are other things that need to be done, like saving the universe. Um, and in order to do them and to become better and healthier, you have to move on, and you have to leave certain things behind you. And it's as hard as it is, and as impossible as it may seem, you have to do it, and you won't regret it because it's the only way to be happy again. So yeah, that was a really strong moment, which I love doing.
Very, very well done. That particular moment really just ties, because it's near the end of the game, it just really
Yeah.
ties things beautifully together. Lastly, I would like to leave a spot for you to say something or go over anything I might have missed during the interview.
You were very thorough. Actually, um, no, I think, well, for me, for my character, because of course I didn't get to read all the other stuff. No, I just hope, well, you're kind of reassuring me there, but I was really hoping that it would be as real and as heartfelt as it was doing it. And I was really hoping that all the relationships would be believable and real, and that the emotion would be raw, even though it's very um, it is a game, so it's not the real people that you see. It's images, and it's um, made with a computer. But I was really hoping that we would get the rawness of real people and real emotions and real human despair and grief and happiness and whatever the emotion is. I was really hoping that it would come across as very real. And I'm really happy to say that I think it was done really well. So I'm really proud.
You can also plug anything if you want as well with that.
Plug, like my projects, stuff like that. Oh my God. Well, what plug? Well, a Canadian author. I don't know if you know Gabrielle Roy. She was born in Manitoba, and her family was from Quebec, but they had moved to Manitoba, and there's a French community in Manitoba, and so she was from there, and she became this great Canadian author, and I'll be playing her in a new series, which is coming in, I think, December, like this December. So very quick, and but yeah, it's really exciting. It's this great woman who we get to see her childhood and how she became this great woman. So I think that'll be really, really great.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so much.